Anthony DiStasio, walking homeward with his sisters from the Michelangelo School, was picked up by the wave and carried, tumbling on its crest, almost as though he were surfing. Then he grounded, and the molasses rolled him like a pebble as the wave diminished. He heard his mother call his name and couldn't answer. His throat was so clogged with the smothering goo. He passed out, then opened his eyes to find three of his sisters staring at him. Another sister had been killed. On 529 Commercial Street in North End, Boston, a large industrial tank towered over the neighborhood. It was over 50 feet tall and 90 feet in diameter, holding more than 2 million gallons of molasses. It belonged to the Purity Distilling Company, a subsidiary of United States Industrial Alcohol. The molasses inside was intended to be processed into industrial alcohol, which had uses ranging from food production to ammunition. The tank was poorly constructed, and it was known to leak. But instead of fixing it properly, the company simply painted it brown, so leaks wouldn't be as visible. Residents nearby had complained about strange noises coming from the tank, and even noticed molasses trickling down its sides. But their concerns were ignored. On January 15, 1919, at around 12:30 p.m., the tank suddenly burst open. The force of the explosion shook the ground, and witnesses said the steel rivets popping out of the tank sounded like machine gun fire. Within seconds, a thick, dark wave of syrup flowed through the streets at an estimated 35 miles per hour. According to reports, the resulting wave of molasses was up to 40 feet high and some 160 feet wide. It moved with such force that it flattened buildings, snapped support beams, ripped freight cars from their tracks, and knocked a nearby firehouse off its foundation. People and horses got caught in the flood. Some were smothered under debris or drowned in the substance, while others were hurled into the air or flung against freight cars. Inside the Boston and Worcester freight terminal, the wave of molasses poured through the doors and windows, killing the workers. Rescue workers from the police, the Army, the Red Cross, and the Navy quickly arrived to help. But the winter air made their jobs harder. The molasses cooled and thickened rapidly and was waist-deep in the streets. It would also further submerge the bodies that tried to fight against it. In the end, 21 people were confirmed dead, and around 150 were injured, many of whom had suffocated in the syrup and were so coated with molasses that they were difficult to identify. Months after that day, bodies from the disaster washed up in Boston Harbor, which didn't lose its brown tinge until summer. Cleanup took months, and even after the area was cleared, molasses remained in cracks, basements, and on walls. For months it seemed that anything a Bostonian touched was sticky: payphones, sidewalks, and subway platforms. For years, some residents claimed they could still smell molasses on hot days. In the aftermath, over 100 lawsuits were filed against United States Industrial Alcohol. The company claimed an anarchist had blown up the tank, but investigators found it was poorly constructed and never tested for safety. In 1925, the company was found liable and ordered to pay around $600,000 in damages.